Next game is Discoveries, a card game. It's Lewis and Clark, the card game.
Yep.
I say card game. Lewis and Clark, the dice game. It has cards, though.
Yes.
This is by Ludonaute, and basically, if you're familiar with Lewis and Clark, it really is similar, but not really. You've got concepts going on, right? So you get a bunch of dice, and those dice represent your people in your party or whatever that were helping you out. You're one of the, you're Lewis or you're Clark or
the other guys.
the other guys. I suck at history. I should have paid attention.
The other guys with them.
Yeah. So one of main people.
Yes.
But your workers are your dice, and your dice have like 4 different sides or whatever. Is it 4, 3? We're on the spot here.
Sure.
They have sides, and there's multiples of some of them. And, you've got, I think it's 4 actions. You've got the Indian, you have a walk and a ride, and then you have the scribbles, which is the little journal entry. So there's 4, but there's multiples of a couple.
Right.
Anyway, what you do, you roll your dice, and then on your turn, you can take any one face, any number of those faces. So if I chose, walk, or not, is it walk, ride? Boat, mountains. One of them is like mountains and one of them is, rivers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you take all that kind of stuff. You take a face, say Indians. You take all your Indians and you apply them to your different actions. You have different actions that allow you to get new dice, or there's also cards on the left and right so you can hire new Indians into your party. They give you gray dice. Your dice are your color, blue, red kind of thing. Those Indian dice are gray. They're neutral. And then you also have traveling cards or whatever, the cards that have they have a little path on it, and it has like a river or a mountain, different amounts of those. And so in order to complete that card, you have to trek that trail basically.
Right.
So if it's 2 mountains and 3 rivers, you got to play 2 actions enough to go through that. So you might play one action that gives you a mountain, and your next action gives you a mountain and 3 rivers kind of thing. And that allows you to complete that card, and you put that card basically hidden under your board, so to speak, that it either gives you victory points at the end of the game, or it might have one of 4 symbols or 5 symbols. Yeah, 4 symbols. The animals. You're, scouting for fauna or whatever. And whoever has you collect them in sets. And so if you have a set of all 4, you get tons of points, 3, etc. And what's interesting about this game is the fact that when you use them for these traveling actions, they go on a middle board, either on the left or right. And essentially it's, walking and riding kind of thing, or mountain climbing, or passing through mountain terrain, or passing like through rivers and I don't know, whatever. There's 2 different symbols. They go left or right. And then on your turn, you can rest. And if you rest, you're allowed to grab all the dice on that left board or right board. And that might have other players' stuff all over it too.
Right.
So you might have 4 different players, dice, and some neutrals there. Now the problem is when you rest, you can take 2 different types of actions to grab dice. You either grab one, all on the left, all on the right, or you grab all your own dice back, no matter where they're at. And that can really hinder other people if they're using your dice and they've got them locked up on actions that take multiple turns to complete.
Right.
So you call all those people back, and it's essentially like those are guys, those are workers that are going out and helping the other people in your, party or whatever, your whole discovery pilgrimage or whatever you want to call it.
But now you need them.
But yeah, now you need them. So you're like, hey, Bob,
come back.
And so like his supervisor's like, well, he's your boss. Right. So go ahead. Wow. Anyway, I thought that's really cool because you're rolling tons of dice, but it is very strategic. It's not as random as you might think.
Yes. It's, and you do have to pay attention. Like you said, don't be locking up other players' dice on something that's going to take multiple turns. They will call it back. They'll look around and just, even if they don't really need it.
Even if they can take 5 from the middle, or they can call their 4 back.
Right.
They're going to call their 4 back because you can hurt so many people.
It sets you back. It pretty much took a turn away from you, trying to set up for something because you have to finish it with the scribbles. So you're trying the journal entry. So you're trying to get all your other symbols lined up and hopefully save up some scribbles to get a couple actions to go off at once. And then they're sitting there calling this stuff back you set up with. So
yeah, definitely. There's 2 things I really like about the game. One, I like the fact that you increase your tableau of actions by getting those Indians. There's basically wary Indians and friendly Indians or whatever. Right. And they're more powerful than the other. I think the friendly Indians are easier to get, but the wary Indians are like more powerful actions, but they cost more Indians basically.
Yes.
And what's cool about that is it gives you a lot of different strategies and a lot of different combos that you can pull off to complete those discovery cards.
Right.
And I'll come back to the thing. I'll come back to the thing I don't like about the discovery cards, but no, I'll just go into it. The discovery cards, when you complete one, if you complete two, you can complete another one that's out in like this, ascension style area,
right,
where there's always 3 and when one gets taken, it gets replaced.
Right.
If you complete 2, you get to take a complete new turn.
Yes.
And like we were saying in Helios, I don't really like that too much. It didn't matter that much in that game, but I think it matters a lot in this game.
That was actually a complaint I wrote down. It's fun to take it, but man, when you're sitting there watching everybody else take multiple turns, and I think my biggest problem with it is there's zero. Pretty much, if you complete the cards, you pick up all your dice and get to just reuse them. Instead of like maybe you get to use what's left over or something, or only half of them, something. But that's what's so hard about another player taking another turn, because they already got a ton of dice in front of them. They used them to do all this stuff, and they just get to reuse them and take a whole nother turn. It's pretty brutal to sit there and watch that. And the other complaint I got, and again, Eric, we love you, buddy, but he always figures out the busted combo or just a card that is like overpowered for what you have to pay for. But sometimes,
although you might have that wrong, because I'm the one that had the busted combo
that time. Yes,
that time. Oh, the first time, yeah, it's Eric.
And I'm also including when we play Lewis and Clark, the card game, because
the board game, yeah,
or the board game, because it tends to be the kind of the same way. It tends to always be like this one card. You're like, because part of the problem is that the cards are double sided. You don't see them all the time.
Oh, and Lewis and Clark,
yeah.
So
or not Lewis and Clark. Well, both of them. Both of them are double-sided, right? They either got the trails on one side or the Indians, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So the card deck is basically one side is the discoveries and the other side's the Indians.
Right.
So you're right. It adds a ton of replayability to the game.
Definitely. And you can play it 3 or 4 times exactly and not see a card. You won't find out how powerful it is until someone's sitting there using it and getting them multiple turns. And it's like, I'm going to remember that card because...
For the most part, I feel like you always need at least 2 cards to make a good combo and make it seem really powerful.
Right.
But there were a few exceptions. I mean, I had one that I could basically put one thing on it and was moving 2 or 3, and it just felt like it was just so powerful.
Well, you got to a point where you were double turning every time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was crazy.
I don't know what it was, but it was pretty rough.
Maybe we should sign up for tournaments at Gen Con for this. I probably won't do that good next time.
No.
But no, I think it's a really good game. I mean, Lewis and Clark is in my top 10, somewhere in the middle. And this is, I don't think it's top 10 for me, but I think it's pretty high. We should play it a whole lot more than what we do.
Well, even with the complaint of it being so brutal to sit there and watch someone take an extra turn or a busted card that you didn't catch when you saw it. Sometimes it just matters on when maybe you do like it, but you didn't get the roll to get it. I mean, sometimes there's luck based in that, but even with the brutality of those 2 things, it's still fun. Yeah.
Well, the one thing we didn't do yet is play it less than 4 players, though. Like, I wonder how it's going to hold up playing it with 2 or 3. 3 probably is not that big of a deal, but 2 players, I'd probably pick something else.
Right.
Like, I don't see it. I don't think there's any 2-player specific rules. And so I just think it's, I don't know. I think 2 players, it's probably better just play something else.
Right.
I feel like there's 2. It would probably be super swingy.
It'd probably get really dilute. Well, does the Indian dice,
the gray dice?
Yeah, the gray dice. Does that amount change per player?
I think it changes per.
Okay,
per player
I was gonna say otherwise
stuff,
it's probably gonna get super diluted with those. But if that changes, then
no, yeah, it changes. So.
Okay.
Good game. Good game. I highly recommend it.
Yep.